The Battle of Gaugamela, fought on October 1, 331 BC, was the decisive confrontation between the armies of Alexander the Great and the Persian king Darius III. After this battle, the Persian Empire ceased to exist. King Alexander the Great of Macedon invaded Asia by crossing the Hellespont in the spring of 334 BC. Shortly after the invasion, he defeated the Persian satraps at the Battle of the Granicus River and took control of all of Asia Minor. A year later, at the Battle of Issus, he dealt a crushing defeat to the army led by Persian King Darius III. Darius escaped deep into his vast empire, and while he gathered a new army from among his subject peoples, Alexander conquered Phoenicia, Syria, and Egypt. Alexander could not immediately pursue Darius, as the strong Persian navy still posed a threat in the Mediterranean Sea, and many cities remained allied with or subservient to Darius. The Persian king himself seemed in no hurry to reclaim his lost territories. Instead, he adopted a Scythian strategy to lure the enemy deep into hostile lands, wear him down, and destroy him. Darius' offers of peace and proposals to divide the empire, sent to Alexander, revealed the Persian king's lack of confidence in his own strength. In 331 BC, after securing and stabilizing his rear, Alexander led the Macedonian army into the heart of the Persian Empire. The Persian satrap Mesios could have prevented the Macedonians from crossing the Euphrates River, but instead he withdrew. On another great river, the Tigris, the Persians again made no attempt to stop Alexander's advance. It is possible that Darius intended to lure Alexander onto a plain suitable for the maneuvering of large masses of cavalry. After crossing the Tigris River, Alexander found the Persian army, led by Darius, drawn up on a plain about 75 kilometers northwest of the town of Arbela, modern-day Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan, a place known since antiquity for its ancient cults. Arbela lay at the intersection of key strategic roads, making it a convenient location for assembling troops from across the vast Persian Empire. The exact site of the battle, referred to by ancient authors as Gaugamela, has never been definitively identified. Plutarch offers one interpretation of the name Gaugamela. The word, in the local tongue, means the camel-ass house for one of the ancient kings, having escaped his enemies on a one-humped camel, placed the animal there and assigned several villages to provide for its upkeep. According to Arrian, Gaugamela was a large village situated by the river Bunelus. Unlike most battles of antiquity, the exact date of this engagement is known thanks to an astronomical diary kept by the priests of Babylon. On October 1, 331 BC, the Battle of Gaugamela took place, the clash that brought an end to the more than 200-year-old Persian Empire, which had stretched from the Aegean Sea in the west to the legendary lands of India in the east. According to Arrian, Alexander commanded about 7,000 cavalry and 40,000 infantry. Justin gives the strength of Darius' forces as 100,000 cavalry and 400,000 infantry, figures likely based on Darius' own claim that he fielded 10 soldiers for every Macedonian. Arrian also mentions a rumor that Darius had 40,000 horsemen and 1 million infantry, along with a more credible 200 scythe chariots and 15 war elephants. Diodorus and Plutarch repeat the same account of a million-strong Persian army, while only Curtius Rufus provides comparatively moderate numbers, 45,000 cavalry and 200,000 infantry. At the center of the Persian army stood Darius himself, surrounded by a unit of kinsmen, noble horsemen, and his personal guard of Persian compatriots, along with Greek mercenary hoplites. Behind them were light infantry contingents drawn from various subject peoples, and Indian troops with 15 war elephants. In front were positioned Mardian archers and 50 chariots. On the left wing, under the command of Orsons, was concentrated a strong heavy cavalry force consisting of 2,000 Messedae, 9,000 Bactrian horsemen, and 5,000 other cavalry, supported by infantry units and 100 chariots. On the right wing, commanded by Messios, stood the Cappadocian cavalry and 50 chariots, as well as Medes, Parthians, Syrians, and other warriors from the central provinces of the Persian Empire. The formation of the Macedonian army as first line differed little from that of previous battles. On the right wing, commanded by Alexander himself, stood 8 or 9 squadrons of companion cavalry and the corps of shield bearers. In the center were arrayed 6 battalions of the phalanx. The left wing, under Parmenian's command, consisted of Thessalian and Greek cavalry equal to the companions in both quality and number. In front of the main line, archers and javelin throwers were deployed in open order to screen the army's advance. To counter the West Persian army on the open plain, Alexander deployed a second line of troops on both flanks, tasked with protecting the rear of the first line. Into this second line, he placed contingents of Thracians, Illyrians, Greeks, and light mercenary cavalry. He also assigned part of the Thracian units to guard the baggage train, which was positioned on a hill near the army. Alexander was fully prepared to fight even in the event of complete encirclement. When the opposing armies came within about 6 kilometers of each other, Alexander allowed his troops to rest in a fortified camp. The Persians, fearing a sudden attack, stood fully armed in the open field throughout the day and night, so that by the morning of the battle, they were morally weakened by fatigue and fear of the Macedonians. The battle began with an attack by the scythe chariots, on which Darius had placed great hopes. The Macedonians were prepared to meet them. Some of the horses, panicked by the shouting and noise of the phalangites, turned back and trampled their own troops. Other horses and charioteers were cut down by Macedonian light infantry before reaching the main line. Messios managed to outflank the Macedonian left wing and press back their cavalry. Parmenian fought surrounded by a superior enemy force. About 3,000 of Messios' horsemen broke through to the Macedonian baggage train, where a fierce engagement unfolded separate from the main battle. The Persians looted the camp, while the Macedonians, with limited forces, made sallies from their battle line to recover the baggage. On the right wing, Alexander executed a tactical maneuver that has puzzled historians. According to Arrian, during the battle, Alexander moved the right wing even farther to the right. The Persian cavalry was engaged and tied down by the Macedonian second-line cavalry. According to Curtius, part of the Bactrian cavalry on the wing facing Alexander was sent by Darius to support his troops in the fight for the baggage train. As a result of the concentration of Persian horsemen on Alexander's right flank and the Bactrians moving toward the camp, a gap opened in the front line of the Persian army. Alexander directed a strike of his companion cavalry, supported by part of the infantry, straight at King Darius. In the clash, Darius' charioteer was killed by a javelin, but the Persians mistook his death for that of the king, and panic swept through their ranks. The Persian left wing began to collapse and retreat. Seeing this, Darius fled, after which the troops near him also broke and ran. Alexander turned the companions' cavalry and struck at the center of the Persian army to relieve his commander. Soon, upon realizing Darius had survived, Messios retreated in order, and Alexander resumed the pursuit of the Persian king toward Arbela. According to Arrian, Alexander lost only 100 men among the companions and half of the companion cavalry horses, about 1,000 horses in total. The Persians, by rumor, suffered up to 30,000 killed, with even more captured. Curtius raises the number of Persian dead to 40,000 and estimates Macedonian losses at 300. Diodorus reports 500 Macedonian casualties and 90,000 Persian dead, noting that many of Alexander's soldiers, including his commanders, were wounded. An unknown papyrus author lists Macedonian losses as 200 cavalry and 1,000 infantry. It is unlikely that the victors counted corpses on the battlefield. Their own losses are distorted by uncertainty over who was included among the dead, only the noble Macedonian companions. A conservative approach allows us to estimate Alexander's army losses at about 1,200 men. The Persians, if not 30,000, likely suffered at least 10 to 20 times more than the Macedonians. After the Battle of Gaugamela, Babylon and other cities of the Persian Empire surrendered to Alexander, with Persian nobles swearing allegiance to him as the new ruler of Asia. The Persian king, Darius III, fled eastward in the hope of raising another army, but he was captured and later killed by his own satrap, Bessus. The Persian Empire ceased to exist.